Forests. Learning objectives. Forests. Uses of forests. Conservation of forest. Dependence of animals on plants. Dependence of plants on animals. Forests. Forest is best defined as an ecosystem or assemblage of ecosystems dominated by trees and other woody vegetation. The living parts of a forest include trees, shrubs, vines, grasses and other herbaceous, non-woody, plants, mosses, algae, fungi, insects, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and microorganisms living on the plants and animals and in the soil. There are many different kinds of forests around the world: tropical rainforests, temperate rainforests, or old-growth forests, boreal forests, mangrove forests, Carolinian forests, to name but a few. A forest. Uses of forests. 1. They produce large amounts of oxygen and absorb large amounts of carbon dioxide, help regulating the gases in Earth's atmosphere. Trees are necessary for our survival. Through photosynthesis, trees produce the all-important gas we cannot live without: oxygen, O2. As we breathe in, our bodies take in oxygen, and when we breathe out, we release carbon dioxide, CO2. Trees do the opposite. They take in CO2 and release O2. This process cleans the air by removing poisonous CO2 so that people and animals can breathe. 2. They moderate temperature and rainfall. Trees are like natural air conditioners and water pumps. They cool the earth by giving shade and recycling water. By cooling the air and ground around them, the shade from trees helps cool the earth's temperature. Also, a single tree can evaporate thousands of liters of water into the atmosphere in a very short time depending upon conditions, thus increasing the local precipitation, for example rainfall. 3. They prevent occurrence of floods. Most of the rainwater which falls down during heavy rains is absorbed by decaying material, like decaying plant leaves, etc., and small vegetation. The roots of trees and plants in the forest help this rainwater to seep into the forest ground and raise the water table. By holding back rainwater and then releasing it slowly onto rivers or canals, the forests prevent the occurrence of floods in rivers. 4. They offer great biodiversity. Forests are rich communities of interrelated organisms that depend on each other for survival. All components of the forest community are essential for health and well-being. Forests offer food, water, shelter and protection for an incredible array of wildlife. The term biodiversity is used to describe the variety of life. The biodiversity found in forests is greater than any other ecosystem. Hence, the number of different plants and animals living in forests is greater than in any other type of habitat. 5. Important products of forests. Food. Forests are stores of food. About a dozen fruits, apples, peaches, strawberries, bananas, etc. dominate world consumption. There are probably about 3,000 more kinds of fruits in the tropics, of which 200 are widely eaten. Tens of thousands of other grains, vegetables, and forms of plant food. Medicines. We obtain most of the medicines from plants such as penicillium, tulsi, and cinchona. Timber and fuel. Teak, sal, devdara are timber trees which are used to make furniture, ship, etc. Wood pulp also used for making paper. Other products. Rubber, perfume, resins are also important products which are obtained from plants. Important products of forest. Rubber tree, cinchona tree, tulsi plant. Fruits. Vegetables. Conservation of forest. Trees are historical symbols with great ecological and economic significance. They are an incredibly important natural, renewable resource that must never be taken for granted. It has taken centuries to produce some of the most beautiful, old-growth forests that exist in our country. Although we can replant trees in areas where they have been cut down, we can never replace the fragile ecosystem of an old-growth forest once it has been destroyed. Natural old-growth forests have been around for hundreds and sometimes thousands of years, and the species of plants and creatures that live within them have developed a special relationship, a delicate balance to support the survival of each and every living thing in the forest. We rely on healthy forests every day, so it is in our best interest to appreciate, respect and preserve them and make sure that we are harvesting them sustainably, so that they will be around for future generations of humans and wildlife to enjoy and use. You might have read it earlier also that we have a lot of our green friends who support us in many direct and indirect ways. You must also know that this is not a one-way process. If plants support animals to have a prosperous survival, animals too help them to live successfully. In fact, both of them depend on each other for a survival, and if any of the two is removed from the environment, nature, the other cannot survive. Let us understand this interdependence of living beings on the earth. Planting trees. Dependence of animals on plants. In nature, most animals depend on each other for meeting their food requirements. Ultimately, it is plants that cater to food requirements of all the animals, directly or indirectly. You might have seen some animals eating plants and plant parts directly. But don't think they are the only animals feeding on plants. These animals are, rather, only a part of big animal world, the whole of which is dependent on plants for its energy supply. How does this, then, happen? Let us understand the process. Food chain. A food chain shows how each living thing gets its food. Some animals eat plants and some animals eat other animals. For example, a simple food chain links the trees and shrubs, the giraffes, that eat trees and shrubs, and the lions, that eat the giraffes. Each link in this chain is food for the next link. A food chain always starts with plant life and ends with an animal. Plants are called producers because they are able to use light energy from the sun to produce food, sugar, from carbon dioxide and water. Food chain. Animals cannot make their own food, so they must eat plants and or other animals. They are called consumers. There are three groups of consumers. 1. Animals that eat only plants are called herbivores, or primary consumers. 2. Animals that eat other animals are called carnivores. A. Carnivores that eat herbivores are called secondary consumers. B. Carnivores that eat other carnivores are called tertiary consumers, for example, killer whales in an ocean food web. Phytoplankton. Small fishes, seals, killer whales. 3. Animals and people who eat both animals and plants are called omnivores. 4. Then there are decomposers, bacteria and fungi, which feed on decaying matter. These decomposers speed up the decaying process that releases mineral salts back into the food chain for absorption by plants as nutrients. See the food chain given below. For example, if you see at any of the given ecosystems, many food chains form simultaneously. Thus, a complex network of food chains is found there. We call such a complex network as food web. See the above food web, for example. Thus, you see that all animals directly or indirectly depend on green plants for their food. So, plants fulfill the food requirements of all animals. A food web. Oxygen is another essential substance which all the animals get from plants. In fact, if plants are not there, the huge animal, mainly the human, population will consume the oxygen present in atmosphere almost in no time, and there would be no source to provide further oxygen, which is essential to survival. You have read that plants absorb carbon dioxide and use it to produce glucose during photosynthesis. In the process, they release free oxygen which is used by animals for their respiration. Also consider the food chain given below. Aquatic, small, big, shark, plants, fish, whale. Besides the above two major contributions towards animal world, plants provide so much for the well-being of mankind. We get many fibers from them to make cloths, spices, beverages and oils, etc. as parts of our food, timber for making furniture, etc. and a large number of essential drugs and medicines. Plants, indeed, have become indispensable for not only the food and oxygen supply, but a lot more than that. A typical food chain. One of the lesser known contribution of plants is the transpiration. Every day, large volumes of water is evaporated in the atmosphere through transpiration. Being filtered by the semi-permeable membrane of the root hair, the transpired water is absolutely pure. Thus, plants help to purify water on the earth as well. Besides this, plants also keep the climate cool and prevent soil erosion. Plants provide oxygen for all of us to breathe. Dependency of plants on animals. Plants, too, depend on animals for the fulfillment of some of their basic requirements. Read the following. Carbon dioxide, which is a major input resource for photosynthesis in green plants, comes from the animals. Almost all animal bodies release carbon dioxide as the respiratory waste substance and is used by green plants to manufacture their food by their green parts. Animals consume large amounts of energy and nutrients which are stored in their body tissues. When they die, their body tissues are broken in simpler forms and are mixed in soil. From there, these minerals reach the plant bodies which use them as manure and grow well. Thus, animals, too, feed plants, though indirectly. In many parts of the world, green lands are protected and prepared with human patronage, care and protection. Irrigation, manuring, pest control, etc., have become the essential conditions for survival. Animals also help plants to perform a number of their essential life processes. For example, many animals like insects, bees, etc. help in pollination. Animals also contribute in dispersal of seeds of plants. Carbon dioxide, oxygen. Keywords. Consumers. Animals that consume either plants or animals or both as food. Food chain. A community of organisms where each member is eaten in turn by another member. Food web. A complete network of food relationships in a given habitat. Interdependence. Dependence of both on each other. Producers. Green plants that produce food through photosynthesis. Summary. Forest is a highly complex, constantly changing environment made of a variety of living things. Forests produce large amounts of oxygen and absorb large amounts of carbon dioxide. Moderate temperature and rainfall offer great biodiversity. Animals and plants depend on each other for their survival. Animals get their food requirements fulfilled by plants. Plants also provide oxygen for animals to breathe. Human life owes a lot to plants for both survival and comfort. A food chain shows how each living thing gets its food. Plants also contribute towards purification of water in nature. Animals cannot make their own food, so they must eat plants and or other animals. Animals also provide manure or minerals to plants. Humans provide mineral nutrients, irrigation facilities and protection against diseases for different type of plant populations.